As the year starts, or maybe as people receive ideas, um, before you know it, the ideas will start dying in their minds. There are many people like you now. If you are walking around, a lot of times you see the things that you have received ideas on how to do before now, but you discover that you didn't start it. Okay, almost the same time, or maybe the same way, the person that established that venture, okay, that you see, the same way the person did it or received the idea was the same way you received it. But the difference is that this person got started, but he never did anything about your own ideas. Those person started working on his own, and you never did. Do you know that even a lot of times you got started, or maybe someone else, or people, let me say, some persons get started after receiving their ideas, but along the line, they fizzle out. Okay, so you see people, some, they receive the ideas, they do nothing about it. Okay, and that's why I always say that the biggest step is the first step. There's nothing as powerful as getting started. Don't just wait for a perfect time. The Bible says that he that observeth the wind cannot sow anything, or the weather cannot sow anything. How does that mean? Or what does that mean? He that waits for a perfect time for anything to happen will never start. Right? An entrepreneur gets started, and the clarity comes as you work on what God has shown you. All right. So I want to share quickly with us the secret of getting started, starting strong, and also finishing strong. So I want to talk about the 4 C's as God reveals this to me, and it has helped me over the years. The 4 C's: C1, C2, C3, C4. All right. So now, I hope as you listen and you're going to take action based on this, and maybe adjust some things you do, and get started. Stop procrastination. If you wait for perfect time, I tell people, I tell my teams, my friends, that I prefer progress and learning on the job better than perfection. I don't wait for a perfect time to get started. Noble skills that people hear today, that has presence in many states and many places globally, and have impacted hundreds of thousands of lives, today started from a room, right? We don't wait until everything is perfect. You just get started, the clarity comes. Okay, God shows you the land that is flowing with milk and honey, but He doesn't tell you that along the line that there is going to be a storm, that there is going to be some war along the line, or there is even going to be some level of sinking. So but you have to just get started. As you get started, the clarity, the bravery, and whatever it takes to overcome, because if it is God that asks you to go, right, He's going to be there with you. All right, so I want to talk about the first is the C1 is called capacity. That thing that you have received ideas about, please write it down. Write the ideas down. Bible talked about it in the book, I think in the book of Habakkuk, that he said, when the vision comes, write it down. Many of the visions come like flood from the throne of grace. It comes as it flows. If you don't do anything about it to capture it, it flows away. So as it comes, write it down. Have a vision book, right? And then have a vision board. A vision board is where you develop the vision you have written down. You develop it as images, as drawing, as sketches, as what we call infographics. Make it clearer. Link up the images as they are coming in scattered form. Link them up and put them together. It is very, very important. As it's coming, write it down and make it plain. Make it clear. Discuss it with somebody of the same mind, of the same kind of mind. All right. So that is very, very important. So as the vision comes, as the idea comes, after writing it down, the next thing is to build capacity. Capacity, very, very important. So that is C1, number, the first C. So some people will tell you, oh, I'm gifted in this area. Oh, I'm called to preach. Oh, I'm called to do, to plait hair. I'm called to become a seamstress. But they now do nothing about developing themselves in that area. Capacity is talking about filling to maximum. Filling to maximum that you can contain, right? God doesn't give someone a blessing that he cannot handle. Remember the story of the woman that came and told the man of God something about He said, your servant, my husband, is dead, and he left nothing, only debt. He said that the debtors are coming to carry my children. And now the man of God asked her a question, what do you have in your house? He said, I have just nothing but just a jar of oil. Now he talked about it as a trifle, something that have no meaning, but he didn't know that that's a potential she has inside, but that potential was not having the capacity to solve the problem, but she needed to develop it, right? That's the development is now what the man of God told her. Go and borrow jars. Go and borrow jars. He said, borrow not a few. Borrowing jars is like going to borrow learning, borrow knowledge, get skills, all right? That is capacity building. Get skills required for your journey. Get skills required to make success out of the idea you've gotten, out of the potentials you have. So by the time you borrow jars, and he said, borrow not a few. Do you know that somebody that is gifted towards maybe singing, and he didn't go for voice development, he didn't go for rehearsal, he won't do well. You won't do well. Develop yourself. Borrow jars. Call people that you feel that are good in that area as well. Be humble enough to learn. Pay a lot of them. Go for seminars. Go for symposiums. Go for learning trainings, all right, and workshops. Okay, so now he told them that after borrowing the jars, after learning, after building your skills, now go inside and lock yourself up. Right? That locking yourself up is like being in the same place with the people of the same mind. Don't be with the negative people. Don't that discourage you. This thing won't work. You don't have the capacity. You don't do this. Then be with them, the people that are of the same mind, and work on what God has told you. Now, the area again I'm driving to is that if you check well, you discover, or you can remember that this woman and the children, they started pouring the oil, all right, into the jars they have borrowed, into the capacity they have gathered. And you discover that immediately the jars got stopped, got finished, the flow of the oil got suspended. It actually didn't stop, but it got suspended. All right. So God doesn't bless you beyond the capacity you've gathered. He said, go and borrow jar, then learn a lot. Are you called into fashion and design? Are you called into a particular business, maybe business of clothing, business of foodstuff, business of that? Learn a lot. Go beyond your locality. Learn more than what people of your line, of your peers know. Build capacity. Because when the blessings start flowing, it doesn't flow beyond the capacity you've gathered. That's what happened to the prodigal son, who woke up very early. He didn't build capacity to contend the blessing he was asking for. He contended it, they carried it too maturedly, and wasted the blessing. So God is not interested in investing on someone who cannot hold the blessing. Okay, it angers God, no matter whom you are, no matter the title. Once God gives you a blessing and you cannot maintain it as he expected, it makes him angry. Then second C is what we call courage. We'll call it courage. Courage is talking about the ability to do something, all right, that you are kind of afraid of. Do you understand? Something that whenever you think about this, just like you standing before a farm, a large farm. As you look at that farm, you got so discouraged. Hey, is it me that is going to work on all of this? Courage is when you now build your mind. Courage is more of mental and a moral strength to venture into something, that you were kind of afraid of. Okay, it helps you to venture. It helps you to get sustained in terms of the inside difficulty. Okay, to persevere and to move towards success. Even danger and fear, move against them. That is courage, right? So capacity is not enough. While you build your capacity, mull up enough courage, right, to get started. Because you see, procrastination comes a lot when people don't have the courage. Okay, they have not built the mental and the moral strength to get started. They kept on saying, I will start tomorrow. I will start next tomorrow. So courage is one of the things that helps you to overcome procrastination. Procrastination is shifting what you're supposed to do today to a later day. And the chances are there that anything you shift from the time you're supposed to do it to another time in the future can be the next 1 hour, the next 10 minutes, the next 20 minutes. I'll do it, I'm going to do it later, I'm going to do it later, and all of that. When you get there, you are going to shift it again. That is it. It has been studied And that is true. Procrastination begets procrastination. So courage helps you to get started. When you're afraid of an activity, when you're afraid of getting into a venture, you procrastinate. Okay, but when you summon up courage, you can just get started. Don't wait for a perfect time. Just get started, all right, and see things falling into place. You learn on the job, and you also conquer the situation as they come and get upgraded. That is how life works. That is courage. Then after modeling up courage to get started, the next thing, very, very important, is commitment. All right, courage and capacity are not just enough. But what about your passion, your commitment, your strength of the mind to continue investing, your how will I say it now, dedicatedness towards this? So commitment is more or less the state or the quality of let me put it this way, of being dedicated to an activity, to a task, to a company, to a cause. All right, the having it in mind that, oh, I'm just sold out to this job, I'm just sold out to having this success, I'm just sold out. All it takes to get this thing move on. So that is commitment. Get committed, because that's what moves you, and that's what makes you a different person. Even in your working place, when your employers knows it, when you're committed to the job, right? Even God, as your primary employer, knows it when you're committed to what you're called to do. Get commitment into it. Get committed. All right. Then we have talked about 3 C's. The first one, don't forget, is capacity. You gather capacity, build yourself, gather a lot of skills it takes for you to achieve what you are called to do, or the ideas, the vision you have received. Number 2, we talked about courage. Build up mental and moral strength it takes to get started. Then the courage gets you started, but commitment gets you flowing. Now, as commitment gets you flowing, the next thing to think about is what we call the 4th C. What is the 4th C? The 4th C is consistency. The 4th C is consistency. You can get started, but without consistency, you go nowhere. All right, and you achieve no success. Consistency is a kind of replicating or achieving good results repeatedly and continuously. Okay, consistency is actually talking about things holding together or being the same for a long time. Okay, continuously. So consistency in this context is talking about you doing the same thing all the time. Have it as a habit, have it as a character, have it as a daily routine, and let it appear on your to-do list every day at a time that you don't need to work supervised, you work unsupervised. The strength to get up and do this has been programmed inside of you. Time to wake up, time to do this, and all of that. Consistency gets you to win. Courage can help you to start. Commitment helps you to flow. But consistency gets you to win. So that is very, very important. The 4 C's gets you to start strong and to finish strong. And I understand that this year, as you work on this 4 C's, success is yours. Thank you so much.